morning, good morning. You may be seated. Happy November. Thank you for being here. Welcome to Gratitude Month. I think every month should be Gratitude Month. Every day should be Gratitude Day. And that's perfect for what we subscribe to align ourselves with spiritually, and that is to look for the gratitude in all of life, because life is continuous and life is happening as you right now. So welcome to Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. It's a wonderful day. If you're too cold, just look to the person next to you and say, "Hug me." And we will generate some warmth today. I'm actually kind of glad it's nice and chilly. So we've got so much going on. Oh my God, this is probably one of the most profound months of our season, because next Sunday is Anniversary Sunday. And so much is going down. And if you haven't had the chance or didn't know, if you didn't go potty before service started, you might have missed the wall out there and the spectacular display that this one got implemented today. So I'm going to let this one tell you more about it. David Aurelio.
Good morning. Welcome to the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. We are a center that recognizes everyone on their spiritual path, and we hope to be a place of great inspiration, thus allowing you to tap into your inherent greatness. And we've been doing so for 35 years. And as Reverend David said, next week is the big weekend. I've been teasing it for months. So you're going to have to be here because it's got everything. There's more stuff happening. I'm going to get to that in a second. But first and foremost, inside your program, brand new month, lots of stuff happening this month. In addition to Anniversary Sunday, as you start whittling your way down there, we've got guest speakers that you do not want to miss throughout the month. Jafon Seeley, we've got Joel Fatinos is going to be here, award winner, author, just amazing guy. You definitely want to see that. Also, we're going to be doing the Giving Tree again. That's something that we started last year, where we benefited several charities throughout the Atlanta area, and we're able to donate to them by you guys picking an ornament off the tree that had, whether it be children with AIDS or so different things coming up. That'll be happening throughout the month. The food drive will be back. So we're in full swing for the month of November. So please keep that list at your side in your calendar. Sync it up with all the stuff that's going on so that you can be abreast of all the stuff that's happening. Thank you for that. Also, thank you for the people that joined us last week for the town hall meeting. We had a little over 100 people that stayed after the second service, and thank you to those folks who took the time to do so. I know many of you have asked me, how can I get some information about the meeting, because I guess the word is spreading, which is good. We love that the word is spreading. There was some information shared in that meeting that is private. That means private in the sense that it stays within the SLCA family. We do not want that broadcast, and that's something we did not live stream it. So if you are interested in the information from that meeting, I have the link. It's on YouTube. We have it hidden, so you can only get to it if you have the link. I have those for you. I will keep it up for another 24 hours so you can see that meeting. So get with me or a staff member, or we have copies of the link at the visitors table, so you may get that so you can be abreast of what's going on. But please do so. Now, anniversary weekend. Let's talk about it. We've got so much going on. It's the 35th anniversary, so you already know or should know that on Friday the 7th, we've got the big concert. So raise your voice, be a part of history. We're going to sing all the songs we've sung forever. We're going to record a CD that's going to live on past any of us. And so we're going to sit here, we're going to have a great time. But the choir's singing, we've got some amazing artists. LaTanya's going to be here again. So again, some great evening. You know, those of you who've been in the coffee houses that Penelope and the choir and folks have put on, you know what it's a great evening of fellowship that is to be there in music. And so couldn't be a better way to start off the weekend. Thank you, for Penelope, for scheduling that and coordinating it. So that's Friday night. In addition, Nikki Murphy, as I said, is going to be taking pictures Friday night, all day Saturday, and on Sunday. So if you want your family, your friends, you want to bring your pets, you can do that. She's got everything set up upstairs. She'll have a little studio. You can do that. So that's happening. Then on Sunday, we've got 2 services. Nana's got her intergenerational dance from little kids all the way to senior citizens. They're going to be performing. It's adorable. They were rehearsing yesterday, so as I was putting up the wall, so you got to see that. It's just going to be a great day with a great message, and we've got catered brunch. So now, what else could I add to that? Well, let me just tell you. So we have an amazing author in our midst who's got a book that's actually coming out that day. So Reverend Dr. David Ault has got a brand new book. It's called The Grass is Greener Right Here. And the buzz is out in the community regarding this book. And I got to tell you, this is from Michael Beckwith's camp, as far as his peeps, So it says, "Dear David, I have just finished reading your book. After typing that previous sentence, I paused for about 10 minutes, and 10 minutes have elapsed before I could move on to this one. As a ghostwriter editor, seldom am I short on words, but I find myself mentally stuttering to find those which would adequately express my profound admiration and appreciation for the gift of your book it will be for its readers. In my capacity as Michael's editor, one of my responsibilities is to review all manuscripts submitted for endorsements, forwards, and afterwards, etc. In any given month, there can be as many as 20 to 30 requests, 98% of which are turned down. Rarely, if ever, do I have the joy of finding such raw honesty, humility, geniusness, and down-to-earth wisdom as in your book, and especially by a New Thought minister or teacher who seem to be allergic to such vulnerability. Not to mention how your gift, your readers, with an exquisitely balanced blend of evoking humor and tears and encouragement. What a blessing that you have given, and be able to combine your early journalistic aspirations with your ministry, and how blessed is your editor to work with such a spiritually and psychologically rich book. It is truly one of the best spiritual and motivational books I have read in years." So, congratulations. With that said, copies of this beautiful book will be here. The author will be signing them. They will be on sale, so we definitely want to just celebrate that and celebrate you, Reverend David, for a job well done. It's going to be an amazing time. So if that is an exciting weekend, I don't know what is. So next weekend, don't miss it, from Friday all the way through. So please join us for all of the activities. Now, as I mentioned, Joel Fotinas is coming here later in the month. Flyers are out there for his workshop, so please make sure you get information on that, because it is right after, so I want you to plan accordingly. Also, the youth, we had a great time last week at your Halloween party. I loved it, and it was great fun to be up there. But the kids are looking for a Christmas tree. So I need the tree for us, for down here. So we're trying to find anyone who has an extra tree, an old one you want to get rid of or something. It doesn't matter what shape it's in. They want to decorate it and do whatever they want with it. So if you've got a tree, see Mary Jane or myself so we can get them a tree. That would be great. Also, we are doing the classes, if you can believe it or not, for 2015 all the way through the year. So I can be able to release those classes for you in as early as next month, so you can start planning. One of the things we're going to be doing, hopefully, is another practitioner class. So you got to see all the practitioners up here when they graduated. That was a 2-year commitment for those folks. And so we want to make sure that the next group can start. So that would start in September. What we want to try to do is make sure we have an idea of who is on that path and who wants to sign up for that. So if you are interested in being a practitioner and you are on that path, we're going to meet with you personally to make sure that you have all the credentials in line and everything's set, so we can prepare you for that. So if you can get with me or someone, we can have you sign the list out there and get that set so we know exactly who we're meeting with in the next few weeks. So good luck with that. Are there any first-time visitors joining us for the very first time today? If you could raise your hand. If you could stand on up so we could welcome you. Welcome to you. We're passing out a CD. It's a CD can be redeemed at our welcome and visitors table. It's one of it's empty right now, but it can be redeemed for one of Reverend Dr. David Ault's talks, especially selected for you. We hope to see you in the very near future, and certainly next week as we celebrate Anniversary Sunday. If you could take this opportunity to shut off any cell phones, I'd be grateful and appreciative. And also meditation, 1050 to 1110 in the lower sanctuary. Thanks so much, and have a great day and a blessed week.
If you would, let's stand. Let's stand together and take your programs. Inside those programs are called our Declaration of Principle, and I'm going to invite you to read this with me together. I believe in one God, one absolute power and first cause to all things. I believe that this power is perfect love, and it creates out of a desire to express love. I believe that all thought is creative, and how I choose to think creates my personal experience. I believe in the unity of all life, and the immortality of the individual soul forever unfolding. I believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of God to all. Brand new month, new song. You are welcome here, our theme song.
Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Love is welcome here. Love is welcome here. Peace is welcome here. Peace is welcome here. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. Love is welcome here. Love is welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here.
The Living Center of Atlanta. It is our honor on the first Sunday of every month to do this incredible ritual called Lighting the Flames of Faith. And this is our opportunity to take the idea of oneness and not just speak it per se, but to find a way in which we can individualize it, to give it meaning, to give it depth. And so today we honor this tradition, and I always get to wear this incredible stole that my practitioners gave me that represents all of the religions. So I'm going to invite you now, as we get into this contemplative space, to know with me and join me in this ceremony, which promotes the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all people and all faiths, all sentient beings, come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. And fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious and spiritual thought and experience, which we honor here this morning. So as you look behind me, you see 10 candles. Each of these flames within these candles represent a world religion. We celebrate the fact that even though we abide and rejoice and celebrate oneness, that oneness does not mean sameness. And so in honoring that oneness, we honor all of the divergent paths. And so the first candle is the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium known as the natural way. Second is the candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, known as the way of primal spirituality. Third is the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. And fourth is the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. 5 is the candle that represents all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. 6th is the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. And 7 is the candle that represents all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. And the 8th candle is for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. And number 9 is the candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And now you and I get to individualize this idea of oneness by focusing on the 10th candle, which can be any one of these behind me, and allowing that 10th candle to be the healing candle. And I invite you in this moment now to place into that flame the essence, the name, the spirit of anyone in your life that you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love right here and right now. And so it is. And this morning we have with us for our practitioner one of our new graduates, Barbara Call.
I've never held one of these before, so I hope it's all working. I just don't want to let it fall. I had a story to tell, but instead I think I'll stay with the space that we're already in. And before we get into prayer, I want to read a few lines that I borrowed from my favorite social media, the television set. Here's to here, to this place where we are. It's not there, it's here. Here just feels right. Come here. I'm here for you. Here's a shortcut. Here's a long cut. Here is where everything changes. Here is the most important place because here is where you are. If you can get comfortable, and let's go back into that contemplative space. And I will say this in the first person. I invite you to take these words as your own. There is one all-powerful, omniscient source of good, source of light, source of radiant energy, source of divine intelligence, source of divine presence. I feel it in the ground on which I stand. I see it in the stars at night. I feel it everywhere when I'm in the moment. And I am part of that source. Source manifests as me, through me. I know that the most profound spiritual thing I can do, and it's easy, is to be in this moment. Not there, here, right now. Because right now, I am experiencing my divine presence. I allow the silence to be in that space to be with self, which is indeed divine presence. And I know that whenever I start thinking, caught up in the illusion that I am somehow separate from God, I know that all I need do is return to this space. In this space, divine presence is. I know that when I experience gratitude, I am in this space. I am right now. Because gratitude is not about the past or the future. It's about what I am and what I'm doing right now. I am thankful, so thankful for this insight, for this perception that this teaching has brought to me. I am thankful that it continues, that more and more people are getting the same messages. And that shows me that truth will out. I am thankful for that truth. And I release it. I release my words into the law, knowing that the law will and is doing its good and perfect work. And together we say, so it is.
There is so much love. There is so much love. There is so much grace. There is so much grace. There is so much joy. There is so much joy in this place. In this place. There are open hearts. There are open. There is peace on each face. There is peace on each face. Spirit's with us now. Spirit's with us now. In this place. This place. This place. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you so much. We have the unique opportunity to have a rising pop star in our midst. Thank you, Barbara. No, I'm kidding. How about that, huh? What a seg. Yeah. Nick Hagelin is a new member of ours, and he and his wife Christina and their lovely son Bash are new members. They've been in Atlanta for 5 years, but Nick is a singer-songwriter, and he's a dancer from New York City, a DJ as well. His music has earned him over 1 million views on YouTube. How do you do it? How do you do it? And a major labor record deal at Interscope Records. He's been featured on the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards. You must have been much younger. Right. The WE Network, Fox, CBS, and NBC. He's a seasoned entertainer with a rich background in the performing arts. He trained at the School of American Ballet at Lincoln Center from age 9 to 18. And he has danced internationally with the Kirov Ballet, American Ballet Theater, and the Carolina Ballet. As an actor, he's appeared on Law & Order, SVU, and the feature film The Emperor's Club. He's currently on a national college tour promoting his City Lights EP. He's in town with us. Here is music. Welcome, Nick Hagelin.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, Penelope, for having me and reading that whole bio. Thank you, Dr. David, for having me. I have an uncle named John Hagelin. He's one of the talking heads in like The Secret and What the Bleep Do We Know and some of these great movies. And you know, we all have that one uncle who's a quantum physicist, Supreme Raja type. And he was married a few years ago, and he had a team of Vedic astronomers pick the most auspicious day for a wedding and a particular place in the Northern Hemisphere to be married. And it gave me this sense of things are sometimes much larger than our experience in the moment. So I wrote this song for his wedding and had the privilege of performing it there. It's called Infinity.
Eternal is your essence, elegant and wild. There's freedom on your face, sweetness in your smile. Simple are my intentions, to love you all my life, to give you all my secrets, and keep you as my wife. But all these angels made these places for you and I to find each other in this life. Oh, you know that mountains come and go, and rivers cease to flow, but you will always know me, and we will be infinity, infinity. And God bless the stars in our eyes, for all our stars are aligned. Infinity, infinity. And God bless the stars in our eyes, for all our stars are aligned. Boundless is your beauty, limitless your love. Timeless are your teachings and the mastery thereof. Simple are my intentions, to love you all my life, give you all my secrets, keep you as my wife. But all these angels made these places for you and I to find each other in this life. Oh, you know that mountains come and go, and rivers cease to flow, but you will always know me, and we will be infinity, infinity. And God bless the stars in our eyes, for all our stars are aligned. Infinity, infinity. God bless the stars in our eyes, for all our stars are aligned. All our stars are aligned.
Nick Hagelin.
Thank you.
Nick Hagelin.
Don't go away. Come here. Nick and his family and their son Bash have come to be a part of Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. So, yeah. And I'm going to put you on the spot. Would you share with them, because I think that they need to know about your incredible son.
Yeah, my son, who will be here at the next service, if you guys want to stick around, he was born with a condition called arthrogryposis, which essentially is stiff joints and weak muscles. When he was born, he couldn't bend his elbows at all, and his legs were pressed up by his ears, and we've been through this long unfolding process with him. Tried all kinds of different therapies and surgeries and have had lots of success. At 2.5 on Easter Sunday morning, he took his first steps. So that was really special. The most amazing thing about Bash is just, we worry for him. People are concerned about, what his life can or can't be, but he never is. concerned about anything. This is his life, and his spirit is so inspiring. He works so hard that even other kids with this condition, kids who are older and maybe aren't as recovered or progressing as well, they'll see him tearing by and they'll go, Mommy, look at him, look what he can do. So he's just become this incredible, poster child for special needs and recovery and just the ability to overcome. He's really an amazing spirit. So, and I mean, so much support too in the community. So many people have helped us try everything with him,
So how can they find out more? Because I know you have a website.
Yeah, out by the CD table, I have some. He has his own business cards. They're called Happy Cards. They have a little minion on them from Despicable Me, but he'll make sure you get one if you meet him. He has 2 lines. If he likes to, he'll either say, did you get my card? Or he'll say, will you babysit me? So Bash will make sure that you stay connected, but I'll have his information out there. He has a website, bashdimpleton.com, because he has a great dimple in his chin. I've made 3 different videos that sort of tell his story, and it's pretty cool to see what he's been able to accomplish in his 4 years here.
So thank you.
Thank you so much.
We are an amazing community. Yes, we are. Today's title is called You're a Divine Idea. You're a divine idea. And I would venture to say that if you've been in the atmosphere of this kind of teaching or any kind of spiritual path, you've heard that many, many times. And I don't always want to rely on what you've heard many, many times. I actually want to take something that you've heard many, many times and begin to dissect it and to find the juice in it and to find the relevance and the depth in it. So hang on, here we go. So you are a divine idea. So let's say that we're attending some kind of upper level biology class and the professor is telling you about physiology and biology and the value of the muscles that we use to smile. And he might say that when you are told to smile, that physiologically you are emitting endorphins that offer the smiler something equitable to the feeling of union or harmony. So that by doing this, by using those muscles and smiling, that what you do is you let go all of these endorphins that go through your body that bring about a sense of union. And let's say that the professor says that when you frowned, you are physiologically firing off these brain synapses that equate the frowner to a sense of separation. And so after this has been explained, smiling equals union, frowning equals separation, that you and I then as students of this class are given the hypothesis or the suggestion to take the following exercise. Keep smiling. Keep smiling. And you and I can hear that and we could think that that's actually reasonable advice, and so we smile. And it's a good thing, it's a good idea, but here's the deal. It's just a start. It's just a start. For if that smile was invested with the knowledge that by deliberately doing that you and I were then aligning ourselves with a deeper loyalty to and an energy of union, that actually from smiling that we were cultivating a definite master thought to offset any unconscious default of separation, then that smile, which would come from that wide range spectrum of investigation, would be you and I living a principle at depth rather than the first example, which is just living by an example or a rule. So there's a difference between doing something at depth, something that has a vast array of knowing to it. And you know that by venturing into something at depth, that it has far more traction and it has far more sustainability and impact than just doing something because it's sort of the generalized rule. For example, if we are told that walking is good for us, if we do something then from that surface component of walking, we might have gotten up this morning and said, that's not such a good idea, and gone back to bed in a warm, toasty thing. But if we were approaching the activity of walking from a place of principle or depth, then here's what that would look like. As I'm walking, I become conscious of my knees bending. I become conscious of my mobility. I might even become conscious that there are other people in this world who don't necessarily have that. And I start to praise and honor the physiology and the symmetry of all of the vascular systems and all of the connectivity that's going on in this framework I call my human body. And as I'm walking, I might add to that a synchronized breathing pattern. And as I'm walking, I might start to give thanks for not only my mobility, but for life itself, for breath itself. As I'm walking, I might take in all of the atmosphere around me and begin to allow my gratitude to unfold for all of the beauty, for the seasonal activity, for the air, for the sky, for the limitless opportunity. I might actually, in my walking, think about my feet and start to do this amazing inventory about how these two things have carried me across this planet for years. I might give thanks in this activity of walking for so much, for the integration of life itself and the mobility that it has taken me from event to event to event to event. Do you see how that kind of framework of walking is different from maybe you should walk a little? So the one that I went in depth and described is walking at depth. It is a principle because what you and I are then applying by doing the walking is an understanding of our connection to the divine idea of mind. That level of walking is connected to life itself rather than just perhaps an offshoot, an assignment, or a rule or something that our doctor said to do. What if it's sobriety? What if you and I, in our path, have stumbled upon this activity of addiction, and so our only resource at this point is to entertain the idea of sobriety? So one might enter into sobriety doing it because it's a generalized rule, but as you're doing your sobriety, as you're going through the inventory of all of those steps, what if along the way you start to think about how this is one big massive refresher course for you as a soul to gain traction again about your reason and your purpose for being? That it isn't just to stop drinking or doing drugs or whatever the addiction is, but that it's actually this divine intervention that's coming in order to catapult you into a life of purpose, a voice of meaning, an instrument of the divine, the ability for you to be this shining example for anyone else that you might come in contact with. Do you see how different sobriety is at that level rather than something that is imposed upon you and you have to do? So there's activities that we do at depth, activities that are equated to principle, and then there are activities that we simply do because perhaps everybody else is doing it. And it doesn't really have any traction and meaning. So surface versus depth. And if I had one prayer in this life in regards to what our mission and vision is just as a spiritual community, it would be that at some point in your journey that you would welcome in and you would abide in the energy of depth. That you would start to look at life as this thing that has such deep resonance, that your life and your talent and your gifts to the world, they're not just there competing with other talents and gifts in the world, but that your talent and your gift has this unique ability to reach people in a way that no one else walking and breathing on this planet will be able to do. If there was one wish, one gift that I would want, is that all of us would be able to open up in consciousness to that idea that I am a soul and my purpose is to live at depth. And so surface again is just sort of abiding through life unconsciously, but depth is realizing that every single moment is a gift. And in that journey, in that journey from unconsciousness to consciousness, in that journey from surface living to depth living, we have to ask these questions. Who am I? Who am I? I am a creative being. Why am I here? To create. And where am I? In a creative universe. Everything is an aspect of creation. You are a creative being. Your reason for being is to create. And where are you supposed to create? In a creative universe. You've been set up to win. Everything around you is just the energy of creation itself. And how we process then these ideas and information, how we process this and open ourselves up to it, takes us to the depth and the understanding of the principle itself. To live by principle means that you understand what's behind your choice. To live by principle, to live at depth, means that you understand the power of your choice. That you are not helpless. That you are not bound by the past. To live at depth means that in this moment now, this now moment, you have the ability to make something that will completely change the landscape and the quality of the rest of your life. That's how powerful you are. That's the creative process within you. That you have the ability at depth to launch a fresh, new causal belief, causal effect. I can launch a new cause and thus create a different effect. You understand the power that is possessed within dedicated choosing. You understand that because of your divinity, that you actually have this power as this creator force to do these things. You know and understand that you set into motion a whole new relationship with union rather than defaulting to patterns of separation. And so let's look at all of the topics that we are bombarded with all of the time. Self-care. Self-care. What does one do when one approaches self-care from a surface perspective? We might vacillate back and forth from one trend to the next. We might gargle with coconut oil because we saw it on Facebook one week and then get bored with that and then try something else. And those are the things that we just entertain from a self-care perspective on the surface level. But self-care at depth, what does that mean? That means that you literally fall in awe to your knees of how beautiful you are and how necessary you are. You start to see yourself as a walking, living, breathing temple. You start to see yourself as something so sacred and so necessary that you do whatever it takes to honor and care for this self, this thing that you've been given. That's operating at depth. And so when I say that you are a divine idea, you are a divine idea, I want you to be able to take that and move beyond just hearing it from the surface component and start to take it down into depth and to understand what it means to say that you are a divine idea. I am a divine idea. What is an idea? What is an idea? An idea is creation. An idea is sort of this genesis seeds that launches into action an aim or a purpose to create something. When you get an idea, I have an idea that I want to create and fix oatmeal for breakfast, so I get up and I do those things. And those are ideas that come to us constantly all day long, and we operate from that surface conditioning. We take the idea and we see it to fruition. But to say that I am a divine idea, what is a divine idea? I am a divine idea. So I, in my human experience, have a lot of ideas, and those ideas get executed. But to say that I am an actual idea myself, that I am a divine idea, then whose idea am I? Whose idea are you? Then you are the idea of that which we call God. You are an idea of creation itself. you are an idea of infinite intelligence. So just like you have an idea to go this particular way in driving to work rather than the other way, just as you have an idea to call a particular person and to make a connection, just like you have an idea that you want to repaint your house, all of these ideas that come to you, you are an actual idea yourself. And you are the idea of what is called creative mind. The way we say that is I am a divine idea in the mind of God. Think about that. The mind of God, the mind of intelligence, the mind of life itself. You are an idea in that mind. And so you as an idea, you are the experience of, you are the vessel, you are the channel by which that divine idea gets to be an idea of creativity in the world. So when you say, I am a divine idea, it's just not a wonderful little surface pithy statement that you are saying in order to make yourself feel good about yourself. And hopefully that's fine, just like smiling does launch into those neurons and those pathways of being in union. But to say that I am a divine idea and really understand what's behind that is to go, oh my God, I am an actual idea held within the mind of that which is the Creator itself. Me, I am an idea. You are a divine idea in the mind of God. How does one who is a divine idea in the mind of God react in the world? How does one who is a divine idea in the mind of God, which is you, how do you show up then in your day-to-day activities? So when we start to understand this, we start to look at where did this come from? How did we first understand that we are a divine idea and not just some creationist story of people who can't listen, and so we eat apples when we're told not to eat apples? How do we move beyond those types of stale archetypes and realize that who you are cellularly, physiologically, biologically, spiritually, who you are at all those Lee words, who you are in all of that is so profound that you are actually beyond definition. You are beyond definition. Because you are a divine idea, which means that the nature of you is not only divine, but it's infinite. The nature of you is not only divine, but it's infinite, meaning that the nature of you cannot actually be described, because the nature of you is beyond description. That's how potent you are. That's how powerful you are. That's how necessary you are to be in this lineage of divine mind. And so as we begin to wrap our own human thoughts around this, we begin to see the path that is before us. And we start to look at all of the things that we might have engaged in that would have kept us in this surface conditioning or this surface consciousness, rather than diving down into the juiciness of the depth of what it means to live. And so our choice is this: are you ready to go into the depth? Are you ready to then embrace the true divine nature of who and what you are? The greatest influences of our founder, Ernest Holmes, were Jesus the Christ, Thomas Troward, the great metaphysician, and also the transcendentalist Ralph Waldo Emerson. When Ernest Holmes was a young boy, he got a hold of the copy of Emerson's essays, and he said that reading Emerson's essays was like drinking water, that he couldn't get enough of it, because what he was reading were these essays from a movement that called the Transcendentalist movement. Transcending means that these collective people in our North American society were breaking away from the dogmatic rituals and teachings of the church at the time. And they were starting to realize that what they saw and what they connected to and what their epiphanies were on a spiritual level was the fact that everything was God. Not just some idea in the sky, that everything was God, because everything was an example of life. And if everything must be God, then guess what? So are you and I, examples of God. That every cell, every organ, every tissue of us is put here in order to be a representation of God. And so Emerson started to write these amazing essays around that. Probably one of his most famous is the one called Self-Reliance. And when Ernest Holmes was reading these essays as a young boy, it started to validate everything that he was feeling intuitively inside of him. And in Self-Reliance, Emerson says right in the very beginning that the divine idea which each of us represents, the divine idea which each of us represents, is that divine idea known as God. Emerson said that. The divine idea which each of us represents, not just the good people, not just the saintly people, not just the ones who behave and do what it is and act the way that you want them to, but that everyone is a divine idea, and each of us is representational of that. But later in the essay, he said that when we start to look at this, we can understand this, but he says what we but half express ourselves. Most of us just half express ourselves, meaning what? That we're not fully understanding the fact that we are a divine idea. And so to half express that you are a divine idea means that a lot of us are just operating at the surface. We're only expressing our divine idea when it's convenient. We're only expressing our divine idea when we have a really good hair day. We're only expressing ourselves as a divine idea when we think that our idea of perfection is finally implementing itself through us. But what Emerson was saying and what metaphysics is teaching us is that it doesn't matter what it is that's happening on the surface, that you at your core are a divine idea. At your core. So Emerson says, we but half express ourselves. He even uses this word. And sometimes we are ashamed of that divine idea which each of us represents. Why do you think Emerson would say that we are ashamed of that? That we are actually ashamed or turning away from the ownership of being a divine idea? And the only thing that I can think of that would cause such a powerful word to pop out of him is the fact that our forgetfulness, you know what that is, right? When we are in forgetfulness, we revert back to an unconscious idea that says that we are faulty, that we are unworthy, that we are not good enough. And so for us to proclaim that we are a divine idea in the mind of God, we have some semblance of shame because at that surface level, we can't see it or believe it. But we are called to look deeper, right? And he says this, and later in Self-Reliance, he says, God will not have his works made manifest by cowards. By cowards. Meaning those of us who run away from the divine idea that we are will miss out on the ability and the potency of being able to manifest that which we say we desire, that which we know that we are capable of. So this is a call today to really begin to look at how you and I are operating in the world. To look and see, where am I just abiding and floating on the surface rather than really diving deep? Our founder, Ernest Holmes, said that the road to self-discovery often calls for the clearing away of the underbrush of ignorance, fear, superstition, and a sense of isolation, which has made us feel that we were unworthy, unheld, and lost. He goes on to say, in the divine providence of good, salvation is unnecessary, but self-discovery is essential. We do not save that which was lost. We merely discover that which needs to be found. What Ernest Holmes is saying is that in this path of living life, the way that you and I live life, we fumble and we stumble and we fall and we forget and sometimes we remember. And in all of this, there is this funneling down or this uncovering to get back to the core of the essential self. And as we do this process, and as we get closer to the core of our understanding of who we are, that we realize that it's not about trying to be saved of anything, but that what it really is about uncovering what needs to be seen in the realm of consciousness. So I like the word uncovery rather than discovery, because self-uncovery then, for me, is our best approach at operating at depth. Operating at depth. So how about this? A lot of times we are taught on the surface that we have to look at the faults. We have to name the faults. We have to speak the faults. Sometimes we have to turn and we have to look at all of our mistakes and our misgivings. But what if at the very core, what we actually have the ability to do, our best approach to operating at depth is to turn to something rather than turning away from something? Do you see the difference? Turning to something rather than from something. We can better start the engines of conscious change by turning to the desirable rather than turning from the undesirable. Meaning it is better to build a consciousness of health rather than try to fight an illness. It is better to cultivate the consciousness of abundance rather than struggle against poverty. It is better to develop the inner consciousness of loving harmoniously rather than trying to fight at discord. The divine idea in the mind of God tells us that who you are already is harmony. Who you are already is wholeness. Who you are already is prosperous and abundant. To turn to that rather than continuing to look at the condition and talk about the condition and dissecting the condition keeps us connected to the condition. But a person who understands that I am a divine idea realizes that the condition is illusion. And so my choice is to understand and to uphold and to take that lesson and to repeat those words, I am a divine idea. I am a divine idea. I am a divine idea in the mind of God. And that by saying that, and by being willing to go at depth with that, begins to alter and change the trajectory of the quality of my life. And so I'm going to ask you to do that this morning. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and repeat after me. And in this repetition, I just want you to be in observance of you, of your mind. And I want you to see perhaps where mind stops at the surface. And just notice that. Don't beat yourself up about that. But be willing to go beyond the surface and to dive deeper and to tap into the resonance of this and to claim it as an eternal truth. So repeat after me. I am a divine idea. Repeat again. I am a divine idea. Now take a deep breath. And now repeat it again slowly. I am a divine idea. Now take a deep breath. And say, I am a divine idea in the mind of God. I am a divine idea. I am a divine idea. And now take a moment and just pause. And in a moment of stillness, ask yourself, what does it mean to be a divine idea? And what are you, as a divine idea, supposed to create? And what are you, as a divine idea, And by being a divine idea means that you are already primed for success, that you are already primed to win, that you have already won. Just by coming into this life form, you have already won. So because you have already won, and you are a divine idea, what is the action before you that you are to take? And so join me in this prayer this morning. Knowing that I am a divine idea, and knowing that historically and spiritually I have already won. Knowing that my true purpose in life is to uncover and to remove anything unlike my divine idea, and to continue looking forward and embracing the infinite potentiality of creation by means of me. Knowing that this is my right and my purpose and my reason for being here. I now dive deep. I move beyond surface living. I move beyond to-do list. I move beyond just merely existing. And I begin to deeply and sacredly value life as me. As a divine idea, I also have a divine calling. And my divine calling is uniquely and wonderfully mine. And even though there are other people who might be doing the same calling, no one will be doing it exactly as I will, because it will be coming from my unique expression. And as I continue to claim and go deep in the understanding of myself as divine mind, then I realize that there are no boundaries that hold me down. There is no such thing as age. There is no such thing as economic brackets. There is no such thing as what has come before me. As the example and the embodiment of divine mind, I am simply a part of the I am. And I am now engaged in life, engaged at depth. And so let us take a deep breath this morning. And let us choose now to understand that we are divine ideas, and that ideas must be expressed. And in the honoring of that expression, we are in the divine flow. And letting this declarative prayer now move its way into the beautiful, receptive energy of law. It says yes. And I speak now and know that both individually and collectively, we uncover now a whole new depth of meaning of what it means to be in this form, in this life, at this time, as a divine idea. Claiming this and celebrating it as so. Let us take a deep cleansing breath if we are in agreement. And you anchor this in, and together we say, and so it is. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Lee Valentine. I'm one of the members of the Board of Trustees here at SLCA. And when David Aurelio was making the comments or reading the remarks from Michael Beckwith's camp in response to their review of Reverend David's book, the only thing I could think of, do you have a camp? I'm your camp. Okay, I'm a member of one of your camps, and One of those camps is the Board of Trustees here at SLCA, and every year the board gets together for a retreat, and you may have heard us refer to the last retreat we had several months ago in Serenbe, and we were together for a couple of days, and it was really just a planning session where the board got together to look or talk about our mission, our vision, some of the things on the near-term horizon. And near the end of that two-day agenda, one of the comments that David Aurelio made, it wasn't on the agenda. He said, well, what's going on with the grateful giving portion of the service? He said, one of the members came up to me and he said, we've got people telling stories, telling jokes, that's not the way it used to be. And any of you who have heard me speak before at this part of the service, you know that I'm rather fond of telling a story and telling a joke. But I didn't take it personally, but I did file it away for future reference. And actually, I think this is my first time before you since that retreat. So to anyone in the room today who does not share my appreciation for humor during this portion of the service, the first thing I would like to say is, or I would like to offer my apology. Definitely did not mean to offend anyone. And to anyone here in the room today who does not share my appreciation for humor during this portion of the service, the next thing I would like to say is, might be a good time to go to the restroom for a couple of minutes, because I've got some new material that I like to try out. Actually, I'm joking, but around that same time, I did have a conversation with a friend of mine. He's CEO of a local nonprofit. He's a retired sales executive from Pfizer, also an ordained minister. He does not have his own church. And I was talking to him about some of the challenges that we have as a board in communicating to our membership about finances. Because even though we are a spiritual center, a spiritual community, at the end of the day, we are also a business. So we try to balance that fine line between the two. And sometimes it can be rather difficult. And this gentleman, the friend of mine, he said, well, you can do what my pastor did last Sunday. I was like, really, what was that? He said, after the collection, he had one of the ushers turn off all the lights. And the pastor said, this is dark, right? And you can't read your Bible with no lights, right? Said, let me tell you something. The electric bill that we use to fund these lights costs money, and the water that you use to wash your hands, after you went to the restroom, it costs money. And obviously, that's not the way we do things. And we would never say anything like that, even in jest. And we also, make a conscious distinction between us and a typical organized religion, even to the tune of making a distinction between collection and an offering. But like I said, at the end of the day, we are a business. So you heard some information about our finances, about our budget last week at the town hall meeting. You'll continue to hear more about that in the coming weeks and coming months. And one of the things that since last Sunday in the town hall meeting, the Board of Trustees, as a way of kind of leading by example, each of the individual members of the Board of Trustees, myself included, we have increased our monthly giving pledge by a minimum of 10%. And when we did that, when we had the suggestion to do that, it reminded me of a bumper sticker that I saw in a car a few weeks ago. It said, no one can do everything, but everyone can do something. So that's just the something that we are doing. So in this gratitude month, or this month of gratitude, I would encourage you to note the things that you are grateful for, including the spiritual community that we are all members of, including our music ministry, including everything that we've grown to appreciate here as part of SLCA, including the lights that are on, the water that's in the that's in the bathroom, including this wonderful facility we have. And I invite you to recite with me our affirmation for grateful giving, which you'll find on the inside of your program. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly, and so it is. Penelope?
Thank you, Lee Valentine. This is from Nick Hagelin's CD called City Lights, and the tune is called Trust It.
It's about saying yes and diving deep. You already know how the story goes. Boy meets world and love unfolds. A sudden explosion of good emotions. You dive deep into that ocean and it feels good. Yeah, it feels right. Says it feels good. I ain't in a rush, but maybe we should trust it. Maybe we should trust it. You already turned up your radio. A new groove with so much soul. It's pulling you closer, something ferocious. You dive deep into that ocean and it feels good. Yeah, it feels right. Since it feels good, I ain't in a rush, but maybe we should trust it. Maybe we should trust it. Your mind is saying yeah, your body's saying hell yeah. So why you trying to say no when you feel it in your soul? Have a little faith, baby. Have a little faith, lover. Have a little faith, baby. Have a little faith, lover, lover, yeah. And it feels good. Yeah, it feels right. Since it feels good, I ain't in a rush. Maybe we should trust it. 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 Thank you.
Nick Hagelin.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, man. I hope you, in your Grammy acceptance speech, you remember SLCA. Just saying. Please stand with us. I'm going to invite our practitioners to come. How about this? How about if you're struggling with the fact that you are a divine idea, that you let one of these beautiful people treat for you, to pray for you affirmatively, to get you back on course in remembering that. So as they line up before you and as we sing our closing song, let these well-winterized souls know a higher truth for you.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. So grateful that I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful.